The one thing the writers have been doing is trying to give us a lot of Dave and Amber scripts. You know what? I'm going to appreciate them because at least I'm giving some more insight and more information into the entire story so we can understand this better. Let's go.
There is something I wanted to talk to you about.
Okay.
And I know you've been going through, things in your marriage and with the divorce. But you mentioned something about God and how you feel like what you're going through is your karma.
Yeah, I do.
God doesn't work like that.
If God doesn't work like that, Dave, then how does he work?
I'd love to know as well because I feel like you need different moments. I call them your flood moments. Flood as in like your Noah and the flood, where the story of Noah is that basically the earth was wicked and it needed to be drenched. And so God said to Noah, hey, get two of everything, put them on an ark, and he floods everything over and refresh it so you can start again. I feel like you need flood moments, but okay.
I feel like I've been on punishment for 2 years now.
Yeah. It feels like you carrying guilt that you never let down.
Dave, I was wrong. I knew I was wrong. And I kept doing it over and over and over. I made bad choices.
And I'm glad that she's also admitting that as well, which I guess she's referring to the Wayne thing. Yeah, they were bad choices. That's good. See, okay, she needs to do these things because these allow her to accept what has occurred so far. It allows her to be real with herself so far. I'm hoping though that Dave don't try to take her out of that mode too much too quickly. You should get out of that mode. In other words, your aim is not to stay in a place of depression or in a place of despondency. The idea is that you should be able to sit on that moment, like a flood moment, and take it on so that way it can wash away all of the pieces, whatever resentment you have, whatever all of those pieces. You want to wash that away. So people try to say they can come out of these moments too quickly. And sometimes they get out too quick, like what Amber did before, where she got out of that moment too quickly. So she never really fully grieved the moment. Does that make sense? Am I making sense to people? I hope that I'm not just going over people's head when I talk.
So what kind of woman does that make me?
A human one.
Don't try to clean this up, okay? Don't try to make me feel better.
I'm not cleaning it up. I'm just not gonna let your lowest moment define who you are. Yeah, you messed up. But you take accountability and recover from it.
Well, again.
So that's a very fair argument that Dave is giving her. But I think that Amber is in a moment right now, Dave, where people has already done this for Amber, meaning she's already sat down with a bunch of people and no, Amber, you can't beat yourself up. No, Amber, you can't no, Amber, you can't do this to yourself. No, Amber, you can't that to yourself. So it gives that. I think she may be, I don't see her in she's not in apathy for sure. So she's working her way up the tone scale. Apathy is when you're really despondent, you're not even responding at all, right? You're not really responding. Nothing about you is responding. I don't think she's there. She's more in a stage of anger. She's angry with herself, and that's a valid and a solid emotion to be in. She should be angry with herself for allowing Sheila to get into a marriage, for allowing herself to go on with the Wayne thing as much as she did, for allowing herself to try to come back with Anthony after even knowing that him had a baby and he did the cheating thing and it's not something that she wanted to be with. But instead, she basically used her guilt to override that. She should feel those ways. Nothing is wrong with that because it allows her to accept it. So once she accepts that and gets better with that, then she can move to the next level. But like you said, Dave is basically stopping her. That's why I say, Dave is bordering right now. He's bordering.
It feels like karma.
That's because shame will have you shrieking down to spend one chapter. And that's not how it works. It's not how it works, Amber.
I often wonder how God sees me. Like, does he look at me and does he see me like you're seeing the situation?
He sees you like somebody he still chose, somebody he still kept, and someone he has a plan for.
After all the mistakes I made.
Especially after that.
See, so okay. Okay. I don't quite get what Amber is getting at as to how God sees her. Because the truth of the matter is, okay, let's really be frank and be very honest, friends. It has not been all bad for Amber since she's been back. She's had winnable moments. Now, what I would argue is how she goes about those winnable moments or what she has done since she's got those winnable moments. Let me dig a little bit deeper. Her inability to put in boundaries is why you have some of the issues that she have. It's not because she has not been getting wins. Because I hear people say this all the time. Amber doesn't win. She doesn't win. She doesn't win. Amber doesn't win. She doesn't win. She doesn't win. If you're talking about the writers, maybe. But in general, if you look at the character, though, the character has a way of inviting certain things that it shouldn't be inviting, though, inside of her whole life and inside of her own sphere. I think that's a fear assessment. Very, very fair assessment of her. Uh, and so, yeah, it just what it is. Look here, I like the conversation with Dave. I'm just kind of worried that Dave may be whitewashing, what Amber has, because I think that she's now ready to really take on what has occurred between herself and Wayne and what has occurred between Anthony and Shayla. And he is doing what everybody else has done, which is to tell her, no, don't beat yourself up, don't whatever. So that way, no, what it does is it forces her to kind of look away from that instead of looking at it and going right through it. You understand what I'm saying? I hope you do.
Especially after that. It's called grace, Amber. And that's how he operates. You think he's the first woman he had to extend his grace to?
No.
You're just the first one struggling to accept it.
Because I don't feel worthy of it, Dave.
But you are worthy. None of us are worthy. That's why it's called grace. His grace is sufficient. And
Here's my question. When since Amber got to the place where she don't really feel all right, okay. So okay, what I think then that they're trying to play is that because Amber has gotten to this place of where she's not, meaning the place of being nasty with Anthony, it has now started to affect her whole aura. So now she no longer knows who she is. Just like she said, Anthony no know and he doesn't know. Right? He doesn't know. We don't think him know either. But basically, she's now gone to the place where she's now lacking of discernment, direction.
burden is light.
I don't even I don't know how to let all of this go.
Well, the first step is you take accountability and you grow from it. You learn from it.
I don't know, Dave.
You can't let this moment disqualify you from the life that God has for you.
Okay. Okay. So like I said before, it feels like one of those things. He's not incorrect. Sure. She does need to now take accountability for the she needs to take accountability for her role in the marriage in itself and what she has actually done. Right? Um that's one. It's a great talk, but like I said before, it's a dangerous talk though, friends. Ladies, it's dangerous. You come on a man and you talk to him like this. It is what it is. It's dangerous. Maybe you're not seeing it when us men say it, but it is, because we know what it is. We know what time it is when this happens. But it's a great talk. I will not negate the talking itself that she's having. Is good conversations that's happening inside of her. If she can just take the accountability right now and stand on business with both Shayla and Anthony, I think for me, I'd be good. You know what I mean? Because then it would show her transformation through the entire piece. I feel it should go back to the whole idea of, let me see if I can fire some shots on Anthony. But no, Shayla, you're okay. You can sneak by. That's when I get confused. And I think that that's what confuses Anthony. I also would love her to sit down with Anthony. And just like she's doing right now with Dave, where she's being vulnerable and communicating to him, she would do that. She would do that. Because I feel like that's what's going on. And do it in such a way where I probably I think she may need a counselor or like a therapist, because if she doesn't do it like that with Anthony, he has a tendency of cutting her off, or him have a tendency of love bombing her, and I think that she falls for that. So you need like a disinterested third party between the two of them that would enable him to stop while he's doing that, so that way she can just get her words out and her sentences out, right? That's the only little thing I would think to the entire thing, because these are people with money, aren't they? That's what they're supposed to be. But give me your take. Was I long-winded? I hope I offered some advice and, you know what I mean, some insight to the story. Give me a take. I'll talk to you soon. Like, share, comment, subscribe.